Hey everybody, it's me, Brian Von VA, representing Mr. Ripper, that lovely, lovely man that we refer to as Daddy Rip or Captain Rip Daddy. That said, today we're going to be covering a topic that you guys and gals and non-binary pals and everyone and anyone in between will certainly appreciate. D&D Players, what was your or a fellow player's how the f*** did you pull that off moment? And if you have a moment that you'd like to share in the comments below, please do for the algorithm gods, because they're very cruel to us anymore. I had a campaign set up for a Halloween one-shot a couple of years ago. My brother, wife, daughter, and my best friend from high school all joined the campaign, which I thought was going to be hours of dark, gloomy Halloween fun. Ooh, speaking my language. Towards the climax of the one-shot, I had a Banshee Sorcerer, an Eldritch Knight Bride of the Vampire Big Bad Evil Guy, and the Vampire Big Bad all surrounding the characters. This was supposed to be the preamble to an epic battle between the characters and the villains of the one-shot. The vampire started in on his Big Bad Evil Guy monologue, and my brother, who was playing a Gloomstalker Assassin GSA build, used sleight of hand to reach into his bag of holding to pull out the Mace of Disruption they found while searching the Big Bad Evil Guy's mansion. When they got the item, they all laughed and said a mace was a terrible weapon choice and they had planned to give it back to the town as a trophy from their victory. After seeing their response to this weapon, I forgot about it. Now, Mr. Kill, die, GSA said to me and the rest of the table, "Keep the Big Bad Evil Guy talking. I have a plan." They agreed, and the monologue wasn't finished, so I said, "Okay, that's easy." And my brother said he was going to ready in action to attack the Big Bad Evil Guy when the Big Bad Evil Guy turned away from him. My wife, daughter, and best friend all had their characters lunge to the opposite side of the Big Bad, creating a distraction and causing him to turn. The GSA sprung into action at that moment. He rolls a 20 on the attack, critical hit, of course. He rolls damage, and it's not enough to kill the Big Bad, but he reminds me about the disruption property of the mace. After taking the mace damage, the radiant damage, the sneak attack damage, the Big Bad had 20 HP left. Because I built the vampire to survive that mace, or so I thought, confidently I rolled for the save. And I rolled a 1. I didn't do critical skill checks and saving throws, but even with magical buffs, items, and bonuses, I didn't have enough to meet or exceed that DC 15 save. It was a terrible oversight. The Big Bad literally turned to dust right in front of everyone. I never even rolled initiative, attack rolls, or damage rolls with him. The only thing I got to do with my overbuilt, uber Big Bad Evil Guy was fast move to block the party's escape and give him a luck. Oh, that's a way to go. The GSA, without missing a beat, turns on the other two monsters, flashes a toothy, predatory grin, and said, "Now you've realized you're in our trap. Who'd like to be the next person to meet my mace?" While gently stroking the mace's head. The Banshee flew away, leaving the bride to her fate. The bride didn't make it. She used gaseous form to escape to her coffin, which the party nailed shut and carried back to town. The town decided to have a sunrise service to release her trapped soul. And that was it for Mrs. Bride. Well, the party wasn't finished. They weren't going to stop until they got the Banshee too. I like it, the good old college try. They tracked her back to the ruin she prefers to haunt because it's where she was murdered. They set the mood by casting spells to make it easy for the GSA to sneak up on her. Things like fog, cloud, long strider, jump, and pass without trace, if I remember correctly. The Banshee was pleased that her ruins were especially dark and gloomy that night, as it would make it easier for hunting, at least until she heard, "Last but not least." That's so cool! As the GSA jumped out of the gloom and hit her with the mace in mid-air, it was a perfectly timed, perfectly executed assassination attack. After we calculated damage, I failed her saving throw too, and rolled a 2 or something, and poof, she winked out of existence. The party gave the town the mace they used to kill the 3 terrors that plagued the town, like they said they would. As the party left the town and was out of earshot of the watchman, the GSA made everyone swear that they would never disclose he had used a mace to assassinate anyone. Ever. Of all the things I built into Team Big Bad Evil Guy, I didn't include anything for bad dice rolls. Live and learn, I guess. Well, here's the moral of the story. Those 3, they didn't live, but they did learn about the mace and the crazy GSA who wielded it. This one happened a couple weeks ago and pretty much had the entire table going, did that really just happen? Spoilers for Dungeon of the Mad Mage, by the way. Spoiler alert, Dungeon of the Mad Mage spoilers here. We all good? Alrighty then. We're down in Willowwood, and as we're exploring, we came upon a young green dragon who calls himself Teruli in his lair. He's a fairly calm fellow, though he reacts a bit slowly to things and almost seems like a child in some ways. Part of that may be because he's a young dragon. Part of that might also be the freaking sword stuck in his head. It's a long sword, and it's in his head. To the hilt. Our group, being the mostly good bunch we are, decide to remove said sword from said head. With Teruli's permission, of course. We manage to do so, and the dragon reverts to his lawful evil self. We soon discover why, as Teruli gives us the sword and our paladin, Angela, attunes to it. The sword is sentient. Its name is actually Teruli, and it's a sentient sword of sharpness. The dragon's actual name is Veildmar, and it hates Willow, the archdruid who maintains this forest level within the dungeon. And it tells us as much, telling us it will find and kill Willow for what she did to him, and that we have one chance to leave him alone or he'll kill us. We did the intelligent thing and left. Then we heard noises coming from a room a few minutes later. We did the unintelligent thing and went back to check on the dragon. Our ranger Hadari opened the door, caught a poison breath to the face, and immediately closed the door like, no thanks, we're good. Unfortunately, Veildmar wasn't having it. He went out the other door, picked up our cleric Bethanol, and yeeted him into the woods. At this point, we're like, oh, we're not losing Bethanol again. We just brought him back like 6 sessions ago. Before this session, we had been talking about Bethanol's grave domain channel divinity, Path to the Grave, and we discovered that the reason his player hadn't used it yet was she wasn't sure exactly what it did because she didn't understand what vulnerability to damage was. This was her first campaign, mind you. We decided we'd give it a try at some point if need be, and this looked like as good a time as any. So he uses Path to the Grave to curse Veildmar with vulnerability to all the damage from the next attack on him. Torxina was next up, and I said, go big or go home, and launched a 5th level guiding bolt, which, predictably missed. I'd even said before I rolled, every time I use this it either misses completely or it ends up being what kills the enemy. We were about 30 minutes into the session at the point, and I still had my once per session inspiration, which I'd normally save until later in the session, but my second roll was a nat 19 for a total of 28. We play on roll 20 and roll everything at advantage and just take the left die total unless we actually have advantage. Just makes things go faster, kind of like that method. I wanted this to go well, so I burned my inspiration and took the 28. Then I rolled damage, plus my bonus from Radiant Soul, 9 since we're 9th level, 35 damage. Doubled to 70. We were all excited about the hit, and the DM said that it took Veildmar to bloodied, but he didn't say anything about the next player going. I said it was the end of my turn, and he said, I'm not done yet. Cue the surprised, huh? From my table. And then the DM said something we'd never heard him say before. Oh, this could be good or bad. I normally don't have to do this because normally players don't do enough damage. but you did more than half its maximum hit points and damage, and I used the massive damage rules against monsters. It failed its con save, and I rolled a 3 for the roll table to see what effect it suffered. You watch as Veldmar crumbles to the ground, unconscious but still breathing, with 1 failed death save. Ooh! I wish we had been playing in person because I'm pretty sure all of our faces had the same "what the f*** just happened" expression. Even over voice, the surprise of the party was readily apparent in the exclamations of, "Did that just happen? What the hell? Holy shit, that's awesome!" and the like. The player playing our ranger simply said, "Well, I think that was a successful test of that ability." No kidding. And that's how we killed a young green dragon with 1 5th level spell. Sadly, we ended up giving the sword back to Willow so she could revive Veldmar and shove the sword in his head again, because having him there with the sword in his head helped keep the balance of Willowwood's ecosystem. And she wasn't going to let us leave with it without a fight. She wasn't evil, of course, and we really didn't want to have to fight her. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and to ring that bell to get notified whenever we post a new video, a short, or in the off chance we go live. That said, leave a comment down below with a moment that made you just go, "How the fuck did you pull that off?" It could be something that you've done, somebody else has done, a DM may have done it, anything, and that's anything. Leave it in the comments. We want to know, not only to satisfy the evil, vile blood gods of the algorithm lords, but to satisfy our desire for more juicy stories, because we love reading everything that's anything. That said, if you want to come check out me, Brian Von VA, you can come do so on Twitch and talk to me about anything you want. My links are in the description below on my website, and my socials are on there, so come do some investigation rolls and find me, because I like talking to all of you, and that's really what I just want to say at the end of this video, is that I really do like talking to everybody. There's a couple people that I've met through the community here on MrRipper that are a bit crazy, that have startled the hell out of me and made me feel a little bit uncomfortable and weird, but they are very few and far between. The people who have done that are pretty much like 1 out of a million. I've met so many of you, and so many of you have made me feel a lot better about my life and about the time that I'm spending here. So I'm truly grateful to, well, be here, to be able to entertain all of you, to be that guy that you listen to when you're in the surgery or when you're walking a trail in the morning just trying to get some extra cardio in before work. It's a good feeling. And one day, I truly wish that I can repay that feeling by giving every single one of you, boys, girls, men, women, everyone and anyone in between, just so much love back. And I will do my best to do so. So all the love, thank you for your continued support, and we will be back soon. Toodaloo.